Hey everyone, in this video I wanted to answer the question, which one is the better dividend stock to buy, Ford Motor Company or Altria Group? And to answer that question, I'm going to look at their dividend yield, revenue, their cash flow, the total long-term debt, and the valuation to come up with the conclusion which one I think is the better dividend stock to buy right now. So let's get right into it, starting with the dividend yield. Altria Group offers investors a very healthy 8.5% dividend yield, while Ford offers an also very high 4.98% dividend yield. These are both higher than what you can get investing in a 10-year government bond, which was yielding around 4.1% as of this recording. But investing in bonds and stocks are a little bit different. Namely, when you invest in stocks, you should be interested in the potential for fluctuating stock prices, because that can also ruin your chances of earning a healthy total return from your investment. So let's look at the other factors that could influence your total return, including the total revenue for the company. And interestingly, if I was to zoom out here, let's go out 10 years. If I was to go out 10 years and looking at total annual revenue, I want you to notice just how flat Altria Group's revenue is at 20.69 billion most recently, but over the years their revenue doesn't fluctuate very much. They're not a cyclical company. They don't go up and down with the business cycle. They pretty much earn the revenue that they earn regardless of what's going on in the business cycle. This can be thought of as a defensive stock because it's not exposed to business cycle risk. Ford, on the other hand, is considered a cyclical stock. When people are getting hired for new jobs, or when businesses have more work and contractors have more work, they go out and buy Ford cars and trucks, and their revenue increases. But when business is not doing well, companies are not hiring, people are not buying as many cars, and so Ford's revenue goes up and down based on the market cycle. Most recently, the market environment has been very good for Ford. The market factors have been working in its favor. However, that is not going to be the case all the time. So that's an interesting difference here between Ford and Altria. And Ford's revenue is much larger as well, annually 158 billion in revenue compared to 20 billion for Altria. The next thing I wanted to look at is free cash flow. This is the cash flow that's left over for investors after the company has made all the investments necessary to run the business. And looking at this metric, surprisingly, Altria Group has better free cash flow in recent times than Ford at 8.578 billion, and for several for since, let's say, 2022, Altria has had better free cash flow, although before, let's say, 2019, Ford had better free cash flow, and for a moment there in 2021, Ford had better free cash flow. Again, this highlights the point that Ford is in a cyclical business where its revenues, its cash flow, its profitability will go up and down. Whereas Altria, you can see just steady improvement here, not as big of swings in terms of up and down in their free cash flow. 8.6 billion compared to 5.3 billion for Ford. Next, I wanted to consider their total long-term debt, and Ford has a massive debt load at 138.97 billion, especially when you compare it to its free cash flow of just 5 billion, and the highest it's ever achieved in free cash flow was a little over 20 billion. So the debt to free cash flow is large compared to Altria Group, which also has a big debt load at 26.68 billion, but the debt to free cash flow of 8.6 billion is not as problematic as Ford's debt to free cash flow. Finally, I wanted to look at valuation, and Altria Group is more expensive than Ford at a forward price to earnings of 8.492 compared to Ford stock at a forward PE of 6.362. However, given Altria's business characteristics and fundamentals that we considered earlier, I would prefer buying Altria stock instead of Ford. So if I was to make a choice today between Ford and Altria Group, from a dividend investor's perspective, I would choose Altria Group. That would be my choice of stock to buy. All right, but that's all I've got for this video. Thank you for watching. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.